Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Today we'll talk about the first chapter of Gary Dessler book. The book title is Fundamentals of Human Resource Management, and the chapter title is Introduction to Human Resource Management. Today we will talk about this chapter. We'll have a general overview of this chapter, so that whenever you read this chapter in the book, you will already be having a little bit of idea that's what's mentioned in the chapter and what the author is aiming while writing this chapter. So, as the title shows, it introduces the concept of human resource management and talks a lot about the growing trends, the changing trends in the world, which are affecting HRM in different ways. These trends are about demographics, about globalization, the use of technology, and their impact on HR. So, starting with the definition of HR and its HR models, first we'll talk about HR strategy model, which is mentioned in the in the start of the book, which you can see here. Like here it's HR strategy model. HR strategy models are developed so that organizations take guidance from these models and frameworks, that how they should be utilizing their human resource management for achieving the goals of their organization, how to take maximum benefit out of the best skills of the employees. And these frameworks also guide and helps the HR managers that how they should be aligning their HR resources with the organization strategy and their overall role in the organization, that where the HR fits within the organization and what is the role of HR in the organization strategies. Strategies are developed to achieve the objectives and goals. So here you can see the author is showing that in the HR strategy model, company strategic goals are linked with the employee competencies. Like whenever a company is setting its strategic goal, then it should have adequate employees who are having the capacities and competencies to achieve those strategic goals, and they should be having the desired behavior which are important for the achievement of organization strategic goals. And how HR manages that, it in the larger context, in the while keeping in view the legal environment of the country in which it's operating. It hires people. They After hiring, they provide them adequate training. Once they are trained, they are performing, they are delivering. So the HR department has to compensate the employees as well through paying salaries and other benefits. And once their performance is delivered and a sufficient time has passed, then the organization HR department then um, uh, uh, check the performance of the employees, and they support their line managers in recording and measuring the performance of the employees over a period of time, and then their performance is assessed and rewards and punishments are given on the basis of that. HR department also take care of employee and labor relations, and how HR department performs all these functions. For performing these functions, HR department develop different policies and practices which are required to produce the desired employee competency and behaviors for the achievement of organizational strategies. So moving towards slides again, here the definition is been given in the book, so just let me read it and we'll explain it a little bit. What is human resource management? It is the process of acquiring, training, appraising, and compensating employees, and of attending to their labor relations, health and safety, and fairness concerns. Now, the process of acquiring means the process of hiring. It has to be performed by the HR department, but it has to make a very good homework for that. It doesn't directly go directly for hiring, but first it has to assess the organizational needs, whether it needs new employees. Once their need is identified, then proper criterias are made. First, it's checked that what will be the duties of those people who are going to be hired, and their on the basis of their duties, job description is developed, and that job description is developed by HR department. It develops it with the consultation of concerned line department, especially their head of department, who advise HR department about the required duties of that position. And with the consultation of line department, HR department also decides what sort of qualification and experience will be required for performing those functions, and what should be their benefits. Once this basic homework is completed, then the HR department goes for hiring. And once the people are hired, they are provided training. Why training is provided? Because when an organization hires a person, that person might be the most suitable person for that job in the available lot, but that candidate may not be able to perform all the functions which are listed in the job description. So during the hiring process, especially at the interview stage, the deficiencies of the candidate should be identified. And once the person is hired, that person should be provided adequate training for addressing those areas which the person is not good at it, and that area is required at that organization. So once the training is delivered, then the person is posted and he or she starts working. So during the work, the head of department, HR department advise the head of department or the supervisor of the person of the new hiree to observe the performance, to record the performance, to measure the performance, to quantify it, sorry, and to uh, 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 evaluate it at the end of the period. And during this time, employees are provided salaries, benefits, and at the end of the period, which is normally 1 year, the performance of the employee is evaluated, and proper marking is made of it. And then HR department, in the light of the prevailing policies, some rewards and punishments can be given depending on the performance. At the same time, HR department has to address the labor relations, like it has to comply the labor laws, the minimum wage, the requirement of a leave, issuance of appointment letter. Um, so all sort of labor laws has to be observed, And if the organization is a commercial entity, then the employees are also they have the right to make a trade union as well. Similarly, HR department has to take care of health and safety of the employees. Like they have the HR department responsible for providing safe environment to the employees. They should work in a risk-free environment. There shouldn't be hazards, or if there are hazards, they should be properly addressed, starting from small things like the seating position of the employee should be in a way that no health issues develop for that employee. The chair has to be good, should be supporting the height of the keyboard. If the person is working on a computer, the height of the keyboard and the positioning of the chair, it has to be in a way that it doesn't develop any back pain or things like that. Similarly, if there is a production hall, it should be there should be good housekeeping. There shouldn't be no waste. There shouldn't be anything which catches fire and may creates a dangerous situation. So HR department has to take care of that. If you have seen the movie Deepwater Horizon, there in that movie, which is about a British petroleum company which was extracting oil from the Gulf, and due to compromised safety situation, a blast occurred and several employees died, several injured. So in the movie, which is based on the real story, that is shown, and you can see that. And fairness concern, the HR department has to take care of observing fairness in their procedure. Hiring should be in a transparent way. The people, employees' performance should be evaluated in a fair way. Distribution or reward should be justice based. So the HR manager and his or her department provide various staff services to the line management, including assistance, assisting in hiring, training, evaluating, rewarding, promoting discipline and safety of employees at all levels. Like in every organization, in almost every organization, big organization, there are line departments and staff departments. Line departments perform the core function, while the staff departments, they are supporting in nature. For example, if there is a hospital, then medical department where doctors are working, that's a line department because it's the core function of the hospital they are performing. While the finance department and the HR department, they are support departments for the medical department. So they are staff, while the medical department is a line department. So HR department provides support to the line department, that is say the medical department in a hospital, in which head of department is assisted by the HR department, while hiring people for their department, providing them training. If HR department is arranging any training for doctors, they have to consult with their head. Similarly, in other functions, HR department provide assistance to the line department so that those functions are properly performed. Here, the line manager and staff manager are defined. Line manager, who is authorized to direct the work of subordinates and is responsible for accomplishing the organization tasks. Like a line manager give directions to the staff. Like a production department, HR department cannot give instruction directly to the production department. It has to go through the head of production. So then staff manager, a manager who assists and advises line manager. So now we'll talk about the trends which are shaping HRM. Again, I have to mention that most of these slides have been taken from the book, which is already uploaded. So the trends shaping HRM: workforce, demographic, and diversity. In European countries, due to better hospital and health facilities, the people life expectancy or their average age is increasing while their population is decreasing, which is creating a problem for the government, that there is lesser younger people who are replacing the people who are retiring. So, in this backdrop, if you see US and European countries allow immigrants to come to their country and work for them, like US introduced its H-1B visa for the workers so that they come to their country and they address that deficiency. Similarly, the minority segments of the society, like women, minorities based on age, race, they are also increasing, which is creating a diversity. Like the people who are working in the organization, they are now more diversified, coming from different cultures, different languages, different colors, bringing their own cultures. So the HR department has to take care of all of them. And Similarly, globalization is also affecting HR. Like, what is globalization? In short words, we can say that when organization perform their different functions, or they place their different departments in different countries. Like, if we today we can see that Apple is an American company which is manufacturing its iPhone at China, where it is getting cheap labor and a regular supply of electricity. Similarly, other organizations are also taking some of their activities to other countries. And how this is happening, because organizations, countries have reduced their trade barriers, geographical barriers, and now, as we say, that the world has become a global village. Now, company will be incorporated in one country, its manufacturing unit can be in another country, its marketing department can be in a third country. So this is how globalization is happening. And in HR manager, in HR department, maybe having an organization, maybe having operations in different countries. So the HR manager has to take care of the people working in different countries, in different cultures, with different legal environment. So that becomes challenging. Like, for example, if the people who are working in McDonald's at US, so they may not be having the same benefits at Pakistan or in another country. So how the benefits has to be matched, and how it has to be rationalized. For example, if a person has come from US to work in Pakistan, how that person should be compensated, either based on the American system or in the Pakistani way. So these are the challenges which HR department has to address. We'll talk about it in a bit detail. Then there are economic trends. Like, we can see, there was a great recession in 2007 and 8, and before that businesses were growing and expanding. And when businesses are expanding, the organization earns more, and organization provide good HR benefits as well. But when the recession starts, downsizing starts, and cost cutting procedures are adopted. So with all these things, um, uh, HR departments also suffer. Like sometimes they don't get right people in the labor market, or they may not be able to get their required people within their own budget. They have to enhance the budget or to take any measure like this. So labor force trends, we'll be discussing that as well. Then comes the technology. Technology is reshaping the world. Now, the facilities which used to be available to only big organizations, now those facilities are now available to the small companies at a very cheaper cost. So small companies are also competing with bigger companies in a very cost effective way, and that is happening due to technology. Similarly, if we focus on HR, presently different mobile applications are providing different HR services, and their uses and they are very friendly in nature, and they are very friendly to the users, and even line managers can perform those functions which once had to be provided by the HR department. So many functions which were once performed by the HR department are now moving towards the line managers, and which is in a way reducing the role of HR. If we talk about Pakistan, like we can see human resource management information system, attendance system is not, manual attendance system is replaced with biometric, and biometric attendance systems are supported with automatic report generations, which shows the working hours of an employee within a day, week, month, year. And human resource management information system are also providing paperless environment, and the performance management is being carried out through the system. The people performance are being measured through the system. So hiring is now being made through job portals, in which the candidate have to fill up all the data, and the job portals automatically scrutinize the data, the employees, the candidates. So technology is also shaping and impacting the HR. And then human capital. Now there used to be a saying that previously, say 20, 30 years back, lawyers, doctors, teachers, that were the community which were considered knowledge workers, because they didn't work manually, but mainly they had to provide their intellectual output to the organization. But now we can see even the person who is a cashier within a bank, that person is also operating a computer. Similarly, the customer service department, say the person who is working in the production hall, that person is also working on a computer. So that those people have also become knowledge workers. And knowledge workers managing, like before that they were normally doing manual jobs, but they are now also working on systems. So the number of the knowledge worker within an organization has increased, which is creating more challenges for the HR department, like retaining those knowledge workers, keeping them happy, keeping them motivated. So that is becoming a challenge. And then new human resource management system, management environment is evolving, in which many functions of the HR managers are now performed by line managers through the ease of technology. So we'll be discussing these points one by one, coming to the workforce demographics and diversity. Table 1.1 demographic groups as a percentage of workforce 1992-2024. If you see the table, you will see that the composition of the workforce will continue to change over the next few years. Specifically, it will continue to become more diverse with more women, minority group members, and older workers in the workforce. Like as I mentioned, the laws are protecting minorities. Discriminatory laws are replaced with non-discriminatory laws, which is promoting the hiring of women and other minorities. And as I mentioned, that the health facilities are improving, which is increasing the average lifespan of a person or average life. So there are more older workers in the workforce, while the population growth has reduced in European countries, Japan, which is alarming for those countries because the older people are not being replaced with young people. Like here you can see that between 1992 and 2024, the percent of the workforce that the US Department of Labor classifies as white will drop from 85 to 77%. With not enough young workers to replace retirees, many employers are hiring foreign workers for US jobs. Now comes to the globalization, which refers to companies extending their sales, ownership, and manufacturing to new markets abroad. As I mentioned, now Toyota built its camera in Kentucky and Apple assembles iPhones in China. Free trade agreements that reduce tariffs and barriers among trade partners further encourage international trade, like we can see European Union, which is a combination of almost 26 European countries with no trade barriers. Similarly, in the past, US yeah, made an agreement with the Canada and Mexico uh, to removing their trade barriers, and that was the North American Free Trade Agreement. Now, if we see Friedman divided globalization into three phases. First phase driven by transportation and extends from Columbus' 1492 discovery of New World to 1800, which was dominated by occupation. Like if you have gone through the history, America used to be named as a new world, and there was gold in that land. So many European nations rushed towards the US to occupy that land. Like history shows, Dutch went there, Portuguese, French, English. Ultimately, English, British Royal Army defeated French forces, and they occupied America. That era was up to 1800 and was occupation of occupying countries. Like Indian subcontinent was occupied by British forces. So a second phase was of communication, and it was from 1800 to 2000. Machines, industries, cheap labor shifted jobs from craftsmen to mass manufacturing. That were the essential features of that second phase. And then globalization has moved for the past 50 or so years. For example, the total sum of US imports and exports rose from $747 billion in 1960 to 562 billion in 1980, and to about 5 trillion recently. So third, by technology, and as 2000 onwards, as companies and individuals are able to compete on an almost level playing field, added by cheap, instantaneous communication via fiber optics and internet, shifted demand for manufacturing and services. You can read that yourself. So then economic trends, as I mentioned, yeah, during this period, 2007-8, there was a recession, and many investors lost their money. So after that, people are now more conscious while investing. So I won't be going into these details like why that recession happened and things like that, but it has an important impact on labor force. Completing all the fact that labor force market is growing more slowly than expecting is not good, because if employees can't get enough workers, they can't expand. In As I mentioned, in the US and in the Western countries, the population rate has decreased, so there are lesser workers, young workers to work, so they allow immigrants to come to their country and work in their business entities. So why? Mostly because with baby boomers aging, the labor force participation rate is declining. In other words, the percent of population that wants to work is declining. Then come the technology trends. As I mentioned, technological change is also reshaping human resource management. Just over half of the companies in one survey were using digital and mobile devices to redesign HR. For example, 41% were designing mobile apps to deliver human resource management, and about a third were using AI. For instance, Accenture estimates, which is a firm business, estimates that social media tools like Facebook and LinkedIn will soon produce 80% of new recruits. Now, these social media platform, professional media platform, if they are attracting 80% of the hiring, like the hiring is being made through these platforms, then the need for a larger HR department is reducing, and many functions which were previously performed by HR managers are moving towards the line managers. At a large insurance company in Japan, IBM's Watson AI system enables inexperienced employees to analyze claims like experts, either use cloud-based performance management system to monitor team performance in real time, and to take employee engagement. So many employees use talent analytics to sift through vast realms of employee data to identify the skills that excel jobs. Once we used to think that it's the degree which puts the employee in a position to perform well, their references and their experience, while the recent survey shows that that successful employees are not only those got who got degrees from better organization, from better institutions, but those who are more punctual, those who are more careful in their work, and a few more things which I forgot. Let's go through the slides where we got it. Talent analytics basically means using statistical techniques, algorithms, and problem solving to identify relationships among data for a purpose of solving problem, such as what are the ideal candidate traits, or how can I predict which of my best employees is likely to quit. For example, many years one employer assumed that what mattered was the schools the job candidates attended, the grades, and their references, while a talent analytics study revealed that traits didn't matter at all. What mattered were things like resumes were grammatically correct, they didn't quit school until obtaining some degree, they were successful in prior jobs, and they were able to succeed with vague instructions like they were given liberties in their work and they did well, like we normally say, if you want to rule me, let me free. So that way, this technology is impacting HR than human capital. One big consequence of globalization of economic and technology trend is that employees are more dependent on their workers, knowledge, education, training, skills, on their human capital. Jobs like consultant and lawyer always required education and knowledge, but today even production assemblers as well as bank tellers, retail clerks, and package deliveries need a level of technological sophistication that wouldn't have needed a few years ago. The point is that in our knowledge based economy, the acquisition and development of superior human capital appear essential. So, dealing with the more knowledge workers is also becoming different. Now, in this whole backdrop, new HR management is evolving. Like in 1960s and 50s and 60s, there used to be personnel departments who were more in a administrative, who were run in a more administrative department in a way, um, and HR professionals were not there. But with the passage of time, HR people started taking control of hiring people, providing them training, compensating them, creating rewards and punishments for them. And that happened in 70s and 80s. But now, due to the development in the technology, now many of these functions can be performed by systems, or these systems provide good assistance to the line managers, and now they can perform those functions themselves without involving HR managers. So the role of HR manager seems to be reducing, and many functions of HR are being performed by line managers. So, for much of 20th century, personnel managers focused mainly on day-to-day activities. In the earliest form, they took over hiring and firing from supervisors, ran the payroll department, and administered benefit plans. As expertise in testing and emerged, the personnel department played a bigger role in employee selection. New union laws were made, and with new equal employment laws in 1960s, employers began relying on HR for avoiding discrimination claims. So many laws were made for the employee protection, and HR people were then hired so that during the hiring and other procedures, no discrimination may be made. Uh, Perhaps the most important change is that more human resource management tasks are being redistributed from a central HR department to companies' employees and line managers thanks to digital tools like mobile phones and social media. For example, at Google, when someone applies for a job, his or her information goes into a system that matches the recruit with the current Google employees based on interest and experience. In a process Google calls crowdsourcing. Google employees then get a big say in whom Google hires. So that was an overview of this chapter, and this case study was given at the end of the chapter with these two questions as well. Please read the case and try to answer these questions. Thank you very much for listening, and stay in touch. Thank you so much.